Welcome to another highlighter palette review. This review is going to be all about the Profusion Strobe and Glow palette. I'm going to go ahead and insert the swatches right here, right now, right away, because everybody loves swatches. So I've got some just basic finger swatches of all of these powders on my arm, but I also have an application and demo of all of these colors on my face as well, so you can see how they look on my skin. I filmed that section quite a while ago, so the lighting is different, my hair is different, I just look different, just FYI. So let's go ahead and do the swatches right now, and then I'll come back and do a review and give you all the details you might want to know about this palette. Some live swatches of the Profusion Strobe and Glow highlighting palette. I'll be applying these products over some foundation and a little bit of powder because I feel like that's how most people probably apply their highlighting powders. And I don't have anything on my cheeks right now, no blush, bronzer, contour, anything like that, just so you can see how these colors look by themselves. I'm going to start with Fairy Dust, which is a white with a blue-purple reflect. I'm going to apply these pretty heavily so you can really see what they look like. Next is the shade Obsessed. This is the most subtle shade in the palette, and it's a beige with kind of a peach base. Starting off with two very different shades. Fairy Dust is a really pretty duochrome. It's got that nice blue-purple shift that's really fun. Obsessed is very subtle. It's almost exactly the same shade as my skin tone, so it really just blends right in. You do have to build it up to get some glow coming out of there, but really good for a natural look. So again, this is Fairy Dust, and this is Obsessed. The next shade is Sugar Crush, and this is a white base with a strong gold shift. Next is Cotton Candy, which is a cool toned pink. Sugar Crush is a perfect way for fair skin to be able to wear gold. A lot of golds are just too dark, you know, the base of the color is too deep. And this is perfect though because it's a white base and a gold shift, so you still get that gold look without the dark base color. And then Cotton Candy is very nice too, just a nice cool pink. So again, this is Sugar Crush, and this is Cotton Candy. The next shade is Heartfelt, which is a peach. And then next is Glazed, which is a true gold, and this is the only shade in the palette that has larger glitter chunks in it. I'd say Fairy Dust has some smaller shimmers, but this is the only one with bigger glitter chunks. Looking straight on, I'm seeing a little bit of darkness on this side, which is Heartfelt, that peach color. I'm actually surprised that Glazed is not darker than it is. I'm not getting that same kind of dark stripe right there. I think it's great that most of these shades don't have any large glitter chunks, because I think most people don't want glitter in their highlighters, but I think it's really fun that there's one in here that does. I've mentioned before, I really don't mind glitter in highlighters. Obviously, there's certain cases where you don't want it, but I think it's kind of fun, especially if you're doing a really dramatic, festive look for the holidays. I think that glitter is kind of fun. And again, this is Heartfelt, and this is Glazed. Moving on to the last row in the palette, this is Jolly, which is a deep rose gold. And these are pretty powdery. I'm getting powder all over my shirt and all over the table and all over the palette. But that's not something that bothers me too much. Even some expensive makeup is powdery. Some of my older Kat Von D shadows are insanely powdery and messy, but they're still good. And next is Three Wishes. I'm having some trouble describing this one for some reason, but it's kind of a cool toned bronze champagne. It's kind of like a really deep champagne. Obviously, we're now in the shades that are not meant to highlight my skin tone. I mean, the reflection is still there, but the base color is a bit deep. So, you know, this one's obviously too dark, but it'd be really beautiful on the right skin tone. And I'm actually pretty surprised Three Wishes isn't darker than it is. I think this would actually be workable if I mixed it in with like a white or something. This is Jolly. And this is Three Wishes. The redness is severe. I'm having to redo this last row because for some reason, all of the last shades came out blurry. I'm glad I decided to check the footage. And my makeup is now getting really cakey and gross in some areas where it's overlapping, so sorry if my skin is not looking so great at this point. Now to the last shade. This is Elated, and I feel like I see kind of copper, gold, and bronze in here, another deeper tone. And it is completely broken at the top now, right by the hinges. That is a huge buzzkill. I'm very disappointed in myself. So here is Elated. I hope you guys enjoyed the swatches and demo of all of these highlighters, and let's go ahead and do the review part and I'll give you some details about this palette. Again, this is the Strobe and Glow palette from Profusion. This is a 9-pan highlighter palette and it retails for $10, so incredibly affordable, really good value. There's 9 colors in here, so you're basically spending just over $1 per shade. I believe this was part of Profusion's Holiday 2017 collection. So that leads me to believe that it might be limited edition. It doesn't say anywhere on the website, either of the websites where it's sold, whether it's limited edition or not. I asked the brand and I didn't hear anything back. You can find this on the Profusion Cosmetics website as well as the Target website. I'll leave both of those linked down below in case you're interested in looking at this. So I'm hoping it's not limited edition, but I figured, hey, it's still available for purchase on both of those websites and figured it's not too late for a review. Just here for a quick edit. I wanted to mention I was in my Target the other day and I noticed that Profusion has a permanent spot in the makeup aisles. Now, during the holiday season, they had their selection of holiday items just on an end cap, but this little section here is just, you know, next to a lot of the other brands that Target carries, and it looks like it's a permanent spot for Profusion. So I just wanted to share that the Strobe and Glow palette is right here. I mentioned, you know, just before a few seconds ago that I was thinking this might be limited edition, but seeing it here in this little permanent section in Target makes me think it's permanent, so that would be great. This is a really nicely packaged palette. The plastic is really sturdy. It feels quite strong. It's got a little click closure down here. All the shades have names right on the front. A lot of high-end brands can't even manage to do that at this point, but I really like the packaging of this. It feels really impressive for $10. And on the back, you've just got some pretty basic information back here, some general directions, amount of product, ingredients. Profusion is a cruelty-free brand, which is really excellent for such an affordable brand because this product in particular is very affordable, but their whole line is quite inexpensive. and this was designed and developed in Los Angeles in the US and made in China. You're getting 1.27 ounces total in this palette, which is 36 grams. That comes out to be 0.14 ounces per pan, and I think that's a really nice amount of product. I think most full-size highlighters are probably around 0.25 ounces, so you're getting a lot of product for very little money in here. And right here is the little brush it comes with. Pop that out for a second. I think this brush is very usable. It's very soft. I think the shape is just perfect for right on top of your cheekbone, and it's so soft it blends everything in nicely, so I think it's a very usable little brush. So let's talk about the color selection. I love the color selection in this palette. I think it's really fun, and I think that's kind of one of the advantages and one of the points of doing a highlighter palette is to have a lot of options. You can have some fun mixing and matching these colors. But you've just got some fun colors to play with in here. You've got cool tones, kind of with fairy dust, which is that blue-purple duochrome shift. You've got cotton candy, which is a cool pink. Three Wishes is on the cool side. You've definitely got a lot of warmth with these kind of bronze, golden shades. And then you do have options in terms of finish in here as well. Obsessed is the most subtle shade in the palette. It's very natural looking, just more of a soft satin kind of sheen, whereas Glaze down here has full-on kind of big glitter chunks in it. So you've got everything from satin to glitter to metallic to duochrome. So let's talk about the formula and texture of these powders. These powders definitely have some weight to them, kind of reminiscent of a foiled eyeshadow, but not quite that heavy. But they definitely have some density. I would say Fairy Dust is the most lightweight of all of the powders. I think it's probably the least pigmented, but I also found that it was easy to build up. So it definitely still shows up, it's just not quite as strong as the other colors. So as far as the texture goes, I don't think it's the most luxurious texture in the world. You know, some highlighters you touch and they're very silky smooth. To make a comparison, I think the most dense highlighters I have are in the Carly Bible Deluxe palette. Those feel almost foiled, like foiled eyeshadows. They're very dense, but they're also very smooth. These aren't quite as smooth as that, but I don't really find it to be a negative. I think what really matters is the performance and the application, and I don't find that the fact that these aren't, you know, super silky hinders the performance in any way. They're definitely not a bad texture by any means. They're not gritty or dry. They're very soft. They're just a little powdery. So onto the application and wear. Because they're dense, I feel like they benefit from additional buffing on your skin. So I'll just apply it with whatever brush I like, and then I'll take a clean brush, something that is decently dense. This is the e.l.f. mineral powder brush, or even something really small. This is the e.l.f. concealer brush. So I would just take a clean brush after that and really buff it into your skin. And I think that it just helps them meld into your skin and they look really beautiful. I don't have any issue with the wear time of these highlighters. For reference, I've got pretty normal skin. They last really nicely on my face. When I test things out and wear them, I like to wear them for at least 9 hours, and these definitely last, you know, throughout a whole long day for me, which is great. One random thing I forgot to note earlier, right after the ingredients listed on the back, in parentheses, it says not for eye area. And I think that's kind of a huge con for a highlighter palette, because I don't think most people are going to get use out of every single shade, you know, as a highlight on their face, like on their cheekbones or something. And you know, that's kind of the con of highlighting palettes, but I'm not ready to be smart and logical. I'm a highlighter fiend, so I'm not ready for an intervention of logic quite yet. But I think one of the things that people do use these for when they don't work on their cheekbones is to use them on their eyes. But maybe it's one of those issues, you know how certain pigments are not approved by the FDA for use around your immediate eye area. It could just maybe be one thing that is not approved for use around your eyes. I have worn these as eyeshadow before. I didn't experience any issues, but I obviously wouldn't recommend that to anyone just because it says on the back not to do it. So, you know, maybe it would be helpful to look into some of the ingredients and figure out why that is and just kind of use your own good judgment. But just FYI, it is not recommended for your eye area. To sum up with some final thoughts, I really enjoy this palette. I think there's a lot of beautiful colors in here. a great variety of finishes. You've got subtle, you've got glitter, you've got metallic, really nice color variety that can go with a lot of different looks. The value is incredible. I mean, you can't beat $10, and I think it's just a good product. It's not good for the drugstore. It's just good. Again, the powders aren't the most luxurious feeling powders in the world, and they are powdery, so they get a little messy. But, you know, the application is just fine for me, especially if I just take the little extra step to buff it in with a clean brush. They look really beautiful on my skin. The lasting power is great. I think it's just a really good product. If you have made it this far into the video, first of all, thank you so much for watching. Second of all, if you're interested, you have a chance to win this palette. I bought a second one of these at Target, and I just thought it would be fun to give one away. I know it's nothing fancy or expensive, but I've never done a giveaway before, and I really appreciate you guys who, you know, support my channel and watch my videos. I will have all of the details for the giveaway linked below in the description box. I'm doing this through a website called Gleam, and you can just run contests on there, and I thought it would just be kind of a good organized way to do it. I just don't know about the YouTube messaging system. Like, do people ever use that or check it? I just feel like that might be kind of a confusing way to do it. So I'll have all the information down below, and there's official rules that YouTube wants you to create and everything. But just a couple things to mention. This is international. I will ship it anywhere you live. And I think I've heard before, if you're under 18, you need parent permission, because, you know, if you win, I have to get an address to send it to you. So I think you need permission from your parents, but that will all be down below. You just really have to be a subscriber of my channel. That would be amazing. But it all takes place through the Gleam website, and that I will link below, and you can find all sorts of details there. I'll try to make it as clear as possible. I really hope you enjoyed this review and that it was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Bye.